Hi everyone, it's Lisa Vanderkwaak here. Hope you're having a great evening. I just wanted to check in with you again, as I mentioned, and today you're going to learn about how to lessen your fear of public speaking by making this one shift. Have you ever struggled with fear of public speaking? I know I have. I've been there, paralyzing fears. And you're not alone. Most people in the world have a fear of public speaking. But the beautiful thing is that I've discovered is that you don't have to stay there. You can actually become a great speaker, an effective public speaker, if you are coachable. They're all learnable skills. So that's why I'd like to share with you some of these tips and tools that I've learned along the way and in answers to your questions. And one of the questions that I get a lot is, and recently, is about how can I stop being fearful when I get up to speak? How can I change this? How can I lessen the fear? So today you're going to learn how to lessen the fear of public speaking by making this one shift. Now, I will say that a lot of fears can also stem from areas of our life that we may need healing in. Maybe there's been things happened in our life or words spoken over us that have impacted our belief in ourselves, our ability to believe that we can speak or that we have a voice, that maybe we didn't have permission to have a voice before, or to believe that what we have to say is important. So those things can also manifest fear in our life, and they may need and require a deeper discovery in terms of maybe meeting with a counselor or a mentor or someone who is trained in these areas for inner healing, but also a life coach could help you as well. Dealt a lot of that with some of my clients in terms of even when I coach them in their public speaking, there's a little bit of overlap sometimes in terms of personal development. And as a life coach, I can also coach them in that area. So I just want you to be aware of that there's some fears, and usually it's the intensity of the fear that will determine what needs to happen. But what I'm talking about today are fears that are normal, everyday fears that people experience. And even if you're a masterful speaker, you may still experience some fears that just before you get up and public speak. Maybe it's a new platform, or it's a new audience, or it's a larger audience, or whatever it is. There may be different things. And you might have a twinge of fear and anxiety, and that's okay. That's perfectly normal. It's how you deal with that, how you learn to use that for your advantage, that really is the key. So that's what I'm talking about today, is those kind of fears where we begin to step up and it begins to hold us back, and we don't know how to handle it, we don't know how to manage it. So I want to tell you a story about Maria, who was experiencing this. She was experiencing signs of fear every time she would have to get up and give a presentation for work. She thought she was very competent and confident in other areas of her life, but when she began to get up and speak and do presentations, she found her body just beginning to shake. She found her throat getting to get really dry, and to the point where she'd then get afraid that if she began to speak that she'd open her mouth and nothing would come out. Sometimes she'd get really sweaty, profusely, mind getting tongue-tied there. So all of these different signs, and then of course that would just accelerate and exacerbate her and just make her more anxious in that way. So she began to ask questions of, how can I lessen this fear? What's going on? So as we began to walk through this, she discovered an area that if she shifted this one area, it made a huge difference. And as she did that, she found significant results. Do you want to know what she did? Okay, she made this one shift. What she shifted was her focus. She shifted her focus from herself on what she had to give, and onto her audience, and onto serving her audience and what they were going to take away. Now, that might seem very simple, and I can already hear, but that, there's still fear because you still have to communicate. You're still going to be worried that they're going to take away something of value. Yes, all of that's true, but you're still focused on yourself. You're still focused on what you have to give and getting it right and your content, when in fact you should be focused on finding out what their needs are and how what you have to bring is going to best serve their needs. So the focus is different. Even in your preparation, even in your delivery, you begin to hone in on connecting with your audience rather than just giving a presentation and giving out content. You begin to hone in on reading your audience, being available, being present with them. Whereas if you're focused on yourself, you're focused on getting it perfect, saying the right words, not forgetting any of your words or content, and so it's consuming your thoughts that you're always in the back of your mind as you're speaking. So you may be missing cues in your audience. You may be missing things that will help you to better serve your audience. So this helps you to free up your mind and your energy to be able to focus in on your audience. Now, fear is basically something that actually can be used to your advantage. When it's in the form of just a normal fear and anxiety at something new and excitement that can just get our energy moving in a different way, we can actually use that fear to our advantage in our movements and in how we show up and begin to serve our audience. And that's definitely something that you can learn, and I always encourage my clients in that way and help them to use that to their advantage by their movements, by their excitement, by how they express themselves, and pretty quickly that fear begins to dissipate. So, as summary, fear is a very real part of public speaking and anxiety, those feelings. If it becomes debilitating, I want to encourage you to seek out more professional help, like a life coach or a counselor, to deal with maybe some underlying stuff that involves some personal development or spiritual healing in that way, or emotional healing. But when it comes to the fear of public speaking, anxiety, that really it comes from just an attitude of perfection or an attitude of I need to get it right, then I want to encourage you to do what Maria did and shift your focus from what you have to give to what your audience is going to get, what they're going to take away. What value are you going to add to their life? What do you have that can benefit their life? And how can you engage with them at that level while you're speaking? Be focused on connection and not perfection. So this week, I want you to put that into practice, become aware of where that may be operating in your life, and see what happens when you make that one shift. I hope it's been helpful. It's been great to be with you. I want to encourage you to put your comments, your questions down below, and share this video with friends or colleagues that you think might benefit from it. And hello to everyone who's listening, as well as to those who are listening to the replay. And have a great evening. This is Lisa Vanderkwaak signing out. We'll see you tomorrow.